an incredibly boiling river, a wonderful place where two oceans meet, a mysterious island where people disappear without a trace, and much more. In this episode you will learn about scientifically impossible places. At the meeting point between two immense oceans, a fascinating phenomenon occurs. Contrary to what you might imagine, the collision between the waters of the Atlantic and the Pacific does not result in a clear division, as is often portrayed in movies. Instead, at this apparent point of collision, one perceives a kind of transparent barrier through which the waves pass. Although they appear to be colliding, there is no reason to be alarmed. With the naked eye, you can see the limits of this curious spectacle. Dark blue waters on one side and green waters on the other, each shining with its own charm. Isn't it just beautiful? This wonder turns out to be surprising and, at the same time, enigmatic. One would think that, at the very least, there would be mysterious waters in transition, mixing the two colors, but the reality is different. This phenomenon is attributed to disparities in the composition of the oceans, especially in terms of salinity. Since the Atlantic holds the title of the world's saltest ocean, salinity plays a crucial role. However, the mineral composition of water is not uniform. At the meeting point, a greater amount of salt is concentrated, generating that visual distinction between the waters. The temperature also contributes to this aquatic dance, being higher in the Atlantic. Additionally, the surface tension of water plays its role, preventing these masses of water from merging with each other. Thus, this surprising and apparently mysterious phenomenon finds its explanation in salinity, temperature, and surface tension. This intriguing event reminds us that, sometimes, nature offers us wonders that, although they may seem incomprehensible, have solid scientific explanations. Still, in the minds of many scientists, places like the Shaim and Pishka River in Peru persist, continuing to defy the laws of science by boiling inexplicably. This unique river continues to be the object of study, challenging our understanding and reminding us that, in the vast panorama of nature, there are still corners that challenge our current expectations and knowledge. The river's name, which means boiled by its heat, suggests an intriguing phenomenon that has baffled scientists. Although the reason behind its extremely high temperature, around 100 degrees Celsius, is not completely clear, the scientific community agrees that the fundamental cause lies in a fault in the Earth's crust. This amazing river has a length of 9 kilometers and its waters are not suitable for bathing due to its scorching temperature. Despite this peculiarity, along its banks live ancient tribes who consider the river sacred. The strange thing about this phenomenon is that there is no apparent volcanic activity in the area. The most likely hypothesis is that hot rocks exist somewhere underground, generating this unusual thermal effect. This natural enigma highlights the complexity of geology and the Earth's ability to surprise us with unique phenomena. In another corner of the world, in Syria, is the ancient Dandara temple, dating back to the 13th century BC. Throughout its extensive history, the temple has experienced unusual events, one of the most notable discoveries being the unique footprints found in its floor. Although there are theories that suggest these footprints could belong to an ancient clawed monster, uncertainty remains. Some believe they could have been left by a human, or even a god with a height of 20 meters. However, the presence of footprints with what appears to be shoes with curved toes contradicts this latter theory. Although the nature of the footprints is a mystery, their authenticity is undeniable, dating back to ancient times. The Gate of Hell. Deep in the vast, arid landscape of Turkmenistan's Karakum Desert lies an astonishing sight that seems straight out of the pages of a fantasy storybook. This fascinating spectacle, known as the Colossal Burning Crater, has captured the imagination of all those who have had the privilege of viewing it. However, despite its fiery appearance, this is no volcanic wonder. Instead, it is a remarkable natural phenomenon born from a vast underground reservoir of natural gas that has been burning tirelessly for decades. Therefore, it has earned the nickname the Gate of Hell due to its otherworldly nature. This unusual place has a mysterious origin. In 1971, Soviet geologists were searching for oil in the desert and accidentally punctured a pocket of flammable gas, creating a 60 by 35 meter hole. To prevent the methane from being released, they decided to light it, but the fire never went out. The original purpose of the drilling has given rise to much speculation, from being considered a gateway to hell to a chemical weapons testing site. Despite the uncertainties, it has become a tourist attraction that receives thousands of visitors every year. The underwater river. Beneath the surface of Cenote Angelita in Mexico lies a captivating natural wonder, an underwater river. While this concept may be initially puzzling, it is a fascinating phenomenon that arises from the interaction of water with different densities. Imagine water with different densities as layers in a cake, with the denser water forming a distinctive layer beneath the less dense water. In Cenote Angelita, the presence of hydrogen sulfide in the water affects its density, creating an impressive underwater river that submerges 100 meters deep. Divers arrive through a cave 55 meters underwater and encounter a fascinating sight. Branches and foliage submerge, forming colorful banks along the river. It is an amazing example of nature, where water behaves in surprising ways. This underwater river is rare and found only in a few places in the world, showing the diversity and beauty of nature. Mysterious purple sphere. In 2013, an extraordinary event occurred in the vast Tucson desert that seemed to defy all terrestrial explanation. It all started with a simple walk taken by a local couple who went for a walk on the sandy terrain. Little did they know that their chance excursion would lead them to an impressive spectacle that would leave the entire community in awe. As they ventured deeper into the desert, they came across an astonishing sight. A colossal mountain of thousands of spheres that sparkled like jewels scattered across the arid landscape. These unique spheres had amazing colors and textures. When touched, they released a mysterious liquid. Experts were perplexed and theories emerged about its origin. Attracted by the mystery, reporters and curious people flocked to the place. Over time, the spheres dried and faded, leaving unanswered questions. This enigma reminds us how much there is left to explore in unexpected places. Scientists hope to discover more about these enigmatic spheres. The Iron Pillar of Delhi. Next, we have the Iron Pillar of Delhi, a 23-foot-tall structure in the courtyard of the Quwwat Islam Mosque in New Delhi, the oldest mosque in northern India. The pillar, which is around 1,600 years old, appears to be a simple pillar at first glance. But upon closer inspection you realize why this incredible ancient structure deserves a place on this list. It is made of iron, and although iron is a powerful structural material, it is susceptible to rust, meaning that over time it begins to deteriorate. However, this pillar has remained strong as ever and without any trace of rust. This surprising property has amazed researchers for years, many of whom question its origin, as it could be an indication of why it still stands today. Many claim that it is of alien origin or a mythical object sent to Earth by the gods. Scientists have also proposed many theories to explain this metallurgical wonder. However, the inscriptions on its shaft tell the story of its origin. King Chandra, who ruled the Gupta Empire around the 4th to 7th century AD, instructed that the pillar be built as a monument in celebration of his numerous victories in war and to be dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu. Plato's alarm clock. Next on this list is Plato's alarm clock. Most of us own an alarm clock, that device next to your bed that you both love and hate. But did you know that the first alarm clock in history was invented by Plato, a Greek philosopher who lived between 428 BC and 348 BC? Plato had a water clock, the type of clock that was popular in ancient Greece, and he modified it to chime at certain times of the day. In a water clock, water drips from one container to another through a small hole and, as long as the size of the container remains the same, the clock counts down an amount of time. Plato altered this design to achieve his own purpose by adding a tube to the filling vessel. The last container has a small opening and makes a hissing noise as it fills, effectively waking Plato up at the set time. Although the design of Plato's alarm clock was not as intricate or sophisticated as modern alarm clocks, it worked effectively and many people who used it woke up on time. Da Vinci's Tank. Throughout history, we have witnessed genius at its finest, and few have been as amazing as Leonardo da Vinci, an Italian polymath who lived between 1452 and 1519. He excelled in various areas such as painting, engineering, drawing, science, sculpture, and architecture. While he is known for his paintings, many of which are rare pieces today, he is also famous for his inventions. One of them, less known, is the first armored vehicle he designed in 1487. This Da Vinci tank was one of his most innovative inventions, transforming the way modern warfare worked. He described the design in his notebook, the Codex Atlanticus, which consisted of a circular platform mounted on 4 wheels and operated by a crew of 8. The vehicle was protected by a cover inspired by a turtle shell, with a sloping surface to repel enemy fire. Although the first modern tank was invented in 1915, this ancient piece of engineering is amazing and has been considered the prototype for today's design. Although a pacifist, Da Vinci sought the patronage of leaders of his day, such as the Duke of Milan and Cesare Borgia, by offering his skills as a war engineer. He designed the tank to protect soldiers and confront their enemies with cannons around the vehicle. Although it is unknown if it was used in war due to certain design flaws, this concept remains notable in history. One of the most impressive ancient technologies ever discovered, the automatic door. Although the first modern automatic door that we all know today was invented in 1931 by 2 American engineers, Horace H. Raymond and Sheldon S. Roby, who designed the first optical device that could open an automatic door for a restaurant, and thus help the waiters to bring plates and glasses. However, the first automatic door dates back to the 1st century AD, invented by Heron of Alexandria, a mathematician who lived in ancient Egypt and was interested in the practical applications of mathematics. The automatic door used a hydraulic system to open and close. The operating system was quite simple: a brass vessel, some containers, and a pulley system. The brass vessel, partially filled with water, was suspended over a fire, and as the water heated, air built up inside the brass vessel, forcing the water to flow into the vessels. The weight of these containers would activate the pulley system and open the automatic doors. Heron's automatic doors were installed in a temple and opened once a day when worshippers arrived, a process that would take hours, from lighting the altar fire to opening the doors. Although this old automatic door was not as functional as modern automatic doors, it was still a wonder to everyone at that time and still today. Roman concrete. Ancient Roman architecture is still amazing today. From the Maison Carrée Temple, built around 16 AD, to the iconic Roman Colosseum, built in 125 AD, these structures have maintained their robustness despite exposure to rain and sun. This has intrigued scientists, who have wondered why Roman concrete was so durable. For example, the Pantheon in Rome, the largest unreinforced concrete building, has still stood since 125 AD. In contrast, modern concrete wears down over time. For years, scientists have explored various theories to understand the unique strength of Roman concrete. For a long time, it was thought that the unique strength of Roman concrete was due to the volcanic ash they added. The Romans were the first to do this, which seemed like a logical idea. Others believed that lime was the key. However, a group of scientists from MIT, Harvard, Italy and Switzerland, led by Admir Mazik, a professor of civil engineering at MIT, found bright white minerals in the concrete, called lime clasts. These experts discovered that ancient Roman concrete had the ability to repair itself, filling cracks as they formed. This was possible thanks to a process called hot mix, which created a concrete with reactive calcium. When cracks formed and water entered, the lime clast dissolved and recrystallized, repairing the crack and reinforcing the structure along with the ash. Holy Shroud of Turin. The Shroud of Turin, an ancient canvas depicting a crucified man, has sparked debate for more than 500 years. It is questioned whether it is the Shroud of Jesus Christ or a medieval forgery. The 14-foot-long canvas shows a man with crucifixion wounds and has characteristics of a photographic negative. The early history is uncertain, but in 1453 it was acquired by the House of Savoy and taken to Turin in 1578, where it still stands. Intensive scientific studies have both supported and questioned its authenticity. In 1898, a photograph revealed a negative image effect, suggesting an impression on the resurrection of Jesus. Although some argue that medieval forgers could have achieved the same thing, studies in the 1970s indicated that the image was not created with dyes or pigments. In 1988, a carbon dating test placed it between 1260 and 1390 AD, leading most to consider it a medieval forgery. Despite arguments about errors in dating, debate persists between medieval evidence and claims of authenticity. The Voynich Manuscript. The Voynich Manuscript is an enigmatic document from the 15th century with an unknown language or code. This 240-page scroll contains illustrations of rare plants, cosmological charts, and figures that look like medicinal herbs. The handwritten text, written in an elaborate script, has not been deciphered and is not related to any known language. Wilfrid Voynich acquired it in 1912, and carbon dating places it between 1404 and 1438. Its origin is unknown, although there are theories, such as the possibility of it being a sophisticated forgery or containing esoteric wisdom protected by codes. It is suggested that it could be a herbal guide, but the plants do not match any known botany. Despite expert attempts and open public access in 2019, the code remains uncracked. Although some doubt its momentous revelations, the Voynich Manuscript remains an intriguing mystery that piques the interest of puzzle solvers. The Pyramids of Egypt. This list would be incomplete without mentioning one of the strangest, most mysterious and impressive ancient structures, the Pyramids of Egypt. The technologies that ensured the construction of the pyramids are the subject of wild speculation, including theories of alien intervention. Since the construction of such a structure by human hands seems like an epic task of great proportion, especially in ancient times, there are around 138 pyramids in Egypt, many of them still intact for human observation to date. The largest of all is the Pyramid of Giza, also called the Pyramid of Khufu, which was built as the tomb of Pharaoh Khufu, who ruled during the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom. This magnificent building stands at 481 feet and was the tallest man-made structure in the world for more than 3,800 years. It is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. How these pyramids were built remains a mystery, but scientists have suggested that they were built by thousands of slaves over many years. For example, the Great Pyramid of Giza is believed to have required over 20,000 slaves over 26 years to complete, as these pyramids were often the final resting place of rulers. They usually began their construction as soon as they ascended the throne. The oldest known pyramid was built in 2630 BC for King Joseph at Saqqara, and the use of pyramids as burial sites for Egyptian pharaohs became a norm after King Joseph. Inside the pyramids there are rooms and chambers where the kings and queens are buried, as well as chambers where their families and temples are buried.